Have you ever wished there was a shortcut, a way to get truly well informed?
Yeah, like cutting through all the noise.
Exactly. And get straight to the impactful insights without, feeling overwhelmed.
Mm.
Well, that's what we aim to do. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the complex world of momentum trading.
And specifically,
Specifically, how the market's shrewdest players, the smart money, aren't just participating. They're often strategically orchestrating moves.
it really is like a high-stakes chess match.
It is. Between what our sources call smart money, think institutions, funds, really seasoned operators,
Right.
and the weak hands.
Usually retail traders, maybe short-term folks who lack conviction, or maybe the resources for the long haul.
Precisely. So our mission here is to pull back the curtain on the subtle, often hidden traps smart money lays.
It's not just what they do, right? It's the psychology behind it.
Yes, why it works, exploiting those basic human emotions in trading. We're kind of decoding the market's hidden language.
And this really goes beyond just watching prices wiggle on a screen, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's about seeing underneath, understanding those hidden layers of market behavior, and crucially, learning how you can avoid some very common traps.
Right.
So for you, the listener, this isn't just theory. It's about, well, empowerment in what can seem like a pretty chaotic arena.
Moving beyond just watching to actually understanding the deliberate moves.
Exactly. Understanding the choreography.
Okay, so let's unpack this term, weak hands. Our source gives a few key characteristics, and they're quite telling.
What are they?
Well, first, low conviction. They react, sometimes pretty intensely, to every bit of news or intraday swing.
Okay, jumpy.
Very. They also tend to have short holding periods. They jump out of positions too soon or maybe impulsively.
Got it. Poor discipline often follows, right?
Yes, like adding to losing trades or chasing breakouts without really thinking it through.
The FOMO chase.
Totally. And they're often over-leveraged, making them vulnerable to stop-outs or margin calls. But maybe the biggest thing, their decisions are driven primarily by emotion. That classic fear and greed.
And the crucial point is,
These aren't just personality flaws. They are the exact psychological triggers smart money actively targets.
turning predictable human reactions into profit opportunities for them.
You got it. It's strategic.
Okay, understanding those vulnerabilities is definitely step one. And to really get smart money's playbook, we need this framework, the four-phase momentum cycle.
Right. That nearly every asset goes through.
Exactly. It's critical you start with accumulation.
This is where smart money is buying quietly.
Hoovering up shares while weak hands are, frankly, inactive or looking elsewhere.
Okay, then.
Then comes the markup. Momentum builds, prices rise, and this is where weak hands really start to pile in, chasing the move.
Getting excited.
Yeah, FOMO kicks in hard. After that, you hit distribution.
This is where smart money starts selling.
Systematically, offloading their shares at those inflated prices, often to the late arriving weak hands.
Passing the bag, essentially.
Pretty much. And finally, the markdown. The party's over, prices fall,
And the weak hands are trapped.
often forced to sell at a loss. What's really key here is how smart money isn't just reacting to these phases, they're actively orchestrating moves within them.
They know when to pull the levers.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have the picture. The reactive player, the market cycle. Now, for the really interesting part, the specific tactics. How do they actually exploit these weak hands? Let's start with false breakouts, bull
Yeah.
traps. How's that work?
It's actually quite elegant in its deception. Institutions will accumulate stock near a strong support level, sort of under the radar.
Okay.
Then they deliberately push the price sharply up, breaking through a key resistance level.
Making it look like a genuine breakout.
Precisely. Retail traders see this, their charts light up, and they rush in, expecting the price to keep soaring.
Buying the breakout.
Yep. And just as they pile in,
The trap snaps shut. Like that DMart example, rallies 7%, breaks 4,300.
and then reverses sharply.
Oof! If you've felt that sudden reversal right after jumping in, you might have been in one of these.
You probably were. Smart money sells directly into that retail buying surge.
So they're offloading shares at high prices to the very people they lured in.
Exactly. They needed that retail buying to provide the liquidity for their selling.
Okay, nasty. And if that doesn't trap you, maybe the next one does. Stop hunting.
Ah, yes. Harvesting liquidity.
How do they know where the stops are?
Well, they identify zones where weak hands predictably place their stop losses. Think obvious places like round numbers or just below recent lows.
Makes sense. Very predictable spots.
Then they trigger a quick, sharp push, maybe below that support or just above resistance.
Just enough to trigger those stops.
Right. Retail gets stopped out, taking their defined loss. And who's waiting there to buy all those shares being sold?
Smart money, taking the other side.
Taking the other side, absorbing the liquidity at a favorable price for them. And then often.
The price reverses, like that Nifty example. Hits 24,723 deep support. Volume spikes massively, 6.6 times average.
Weak hands might panic sell on that spike down.
But then, crucially, it recovers after the stops are hit and liquidity is absorbed.
That recovery after the spike in volume surge.
Yeah.
Classic bear trap signature. They cleaned out the stops and then moved the price.
Wow. Okay, so false breakouts, stop hunting.
Okay.
What else is in the playbook?
Well, playing on emotions directly with fake news or sentiment shakeouts.
How does that work?
Here, you might see negative news strategically released, maybe during accumulation or early markup.
Timed news.
Timed perfectly. The goal is to cause weak hands to panic and sell their shares cheaply.
And smart money.
Steps right in. Uses those artificially low prices caused by the panic selling they might have induced to accumulate even more shares.
That mid-cap sector example, down 4% in a week.
While institutions were quietly buying as retail fled, that's a perfect illustration. It shows the news flow isn't always just random.
No, it can be part of the strategy. Okay, one more tactic. Volume divergence confusion. This sounds subtle.
It is. Here, the price might be flat or maybe creeping up just a little bit, but underneath, volume is surging.
Okay, so high volume. Retail often sees that as strength, right? A sign of a powerful move coming.
Exactly. They misinterpret that rising volume as confirmation. Think, this is it, and start buying.
But that's not always the case, is it? The JS Winergy example, 5-day volume way up, like 8 times average.
Huge volume.
But the price just couldn't hold above 530. What's really going on there?
That's the divergence. While retail is buying, thinking it's strength, smart money is actually using that high volume to distribute their shares.
Selling into the retail buying, but subtly.
Very subtly. Offloading large amounts without crashing the price immediately. They feed the shares out as retail buys them up.
Until retail is fully loaded.
And then the buying support disappears, smart money steps back, and the price breaks down. That G. Winergy case, high volume, no sustained price gain, classic distribution pattern.
Wow. Okay, if we sort of connect this all together, it really highlights the edge smart money has. They've got tools weak hands just can't compete with.
Oh, absolutely. The asymmetry is significant.
Can you give us a sense of some of these tools, like volume-weighted execution? What does that let them do?
Sure. VWAP execution essentially allows them to buy or sell huge blocks of shares spread out over time, maybe across the whole trading day.
And the point is?
The point is to minimize the impact their large order has on the market price. They avoid immediately pushing the price up when buying or down when selling.
So they can accumulate or distribute without tipping their hand, almost like moving stealthily.
Exactly. It's like they have an invisible conveyor belt for their orders, while retail is, making noise with every trade.
That's a massive advantage. The source also mentions things like manipulating option open interest and using dark pools. Quick breakdown.
Okay, option open interest manipulation involves placing options trades strategically to maybe create misleading signals about market direction or liquidity.
To trap people.
Yeah, to lure directional traders onto the wrong side, influence sentiment, essentially. And dark pools.
Right.
Those are private exchanges. Huge institutional trades happen there, completely off the public exchanges, hidden from view.
So they can move enormous amounts of stock without anyone seeing it in real time.
Precisely. Prevents immediate price impact. Avoids front running. It lets them operate on a scale and with a level of secrecy retail just doesn't have access to.
It almost sounds like weak hands are just set up to fail. Is there ever a time this backfires on smart money? Or where retail accidentally benefits?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Look, these strategies are probabilistic, not guaranteed. Sometimes truly unexpected news or a sudden massive coordinated surge in retail interest, think meme stocks, perhaps, can temporarily overwhelm institutional positioning.
But it's usually short-lived.
Often, yes. And capitalizing on that requires incredible timing and discipline from the retail side to get out. Generally, the odds, the tools, the information flow, they favor smart money. It's really about understanding the deliberate mechanisms, not banking on, like, a lucky break.
Okay, so as you can hear, it's this complex, often hidden game being played. But don't worry, this deep dive isn't just about revealing the tactics.
It's about defense, too.
Exactly. We're going to wrap up with some really actionable insights on how you can avoid being the weak hand and maybe start seeing the market through a more strategic lens. So, where does that leave us? What does this all mean?
Yeah, let's tie it together.
We kind of journeyed through this intricate dance of momentum trading, haven't we? Really drawing that line between the patient, strategic, smart money.
And the more reactive weak hands.
We saw the market cycle accumulation, markup, distribution, markdown.
And those specific tactics used to exploit predictable behavior.
Right. The false breakouts, the stop hunting, those sentiment shakeouts with fake news, the volume divergence confusion.
And remembering that institutions have those powerful tools, the VWAP, dark pools, options plays, that give them a significant edge.
It's quite a setup.
It is. But the key takeaway isn't despair, it's defense. The crucial advice from our source for you, the listener, to avoid being that weak hand is pretty clear.
Okay, let's hear it.
First, trade with conviction. This means doing your homework, anticipating positioning early, not just chasing the price action.
Thinking ahead, like chess.
Exactly. Second, use volume as confirmation, yes, but don't be lured by it alone. Remember, high volume can hide distribution just as easily as it can signal strength.
Good point.
Third, watch for divergence. When price action doesn't match up with volume, or maybe option interest figures, that's a potential warning sign. A trap might be setting up.
Okay, what else?
Fourth, and this is huge, control your risk. Never risk more than you can emotionally handle losing. Over-leverage makes you vulnerable.
Keeps you from making emotional decisions, too.
Absolutely. And finally, don't fight the cycle. Learn to recognize when momentum is genuinely shifting towards distribution or markdown, and respect it. Don't argue with the tape.
That's really practical advice. This whole deep dive, it's been about becoming more informed, more strategic. It really makes you think of that Warren Buffett quote, our source included.
Oh, the classic one.
Yeah, the market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient.
It's so true in this context. And it's important to add, weak hands aren't necessarily bad traders. They're often just underprepared.
Underprepared for the strategic depth of the institutional game.
Exactly. In momentum trading, knowledge really is your first shield.
Yeah.
And discipline, that's your weapon.
So a final thought to leave everyone with, building on this, remember what this source emphasized. Volume plus volatility doesn't automatically equal strength. Not all breakouts are genuine invitations to jump in. The real edge isn't chasing them. It's recognizing the trap before you run into it.
Which really raises that critical question for you, the listener. How will you choose to approach this? Will you observe, plan, and execute more like smart money? Or just keep reacting?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Stay alert. Stay ahead.